I think that that's it. That's all I think about that. Does your dubiousness about the messenger invalidate the message? Yes, absolutely. When it comes to performance art, I think that's the factor, is that it's not. I don't think performance art has to be intellectual. I don't think it has to be explained. I think it should exist on its own, because it is absolute presence. And I think if it doesn't exist in the present, then you're flailing. Even in the piece that I did, I know that not everyone liked what I did, but ultimately the work is about my own transformation. And if other people ride it, they ride it. If they don't, they don't. And that to me is the only factor that can allow me to sleep at night. It's nice for accolades and acceptance, but ultimately for me, this work, everything I do is about my layers and and granted, other performance artists can fall, I guess, in the same category, but I think one of the bigger problems for me with this show was the scale. I think I needed to see some aspects larger. The video seemed to be the largest, but I'd like to have seen some real some real time, real talk, an installation, or something to sort of get lost in. It was almost like a book, flipping through a book, versus being in an environment. And I think it would have been nice to put an environment in there. We all have limitations. I think that's one of the things about performance art, is that we can be challenged by the work to become more aware of our own limitations. And I think in that way this Deliverance show is quite successful. I think the writer of the article just doing the best she can. I find with a lot of art criticism in Atlanta, it's like practice makes perfect, and it seems like the practicing as opposed to the accomplished seem to enjoy writing the negative, because it makes them look like they know what they're talking about. They're being critical, like they're doing their job of being critical. I think it's more difficult to be a critic and find referential ways to navigate the discourse, the dialogue. There's ways of naysaying without sort of throwing in the ego. Which, I guess there's a couple different ways to criticize art. You can either talk about its relevance, or you can just describe it. And if you're doing both, and you're doing it well, I think the criticism becomes a broader conversation and not sort of pinpointing. It's silly that this person didn't go see the rat. Then that to me lets me know their limitation and that their own commitment with the capacity to expand. It was a very difficult one for me. If Lauren Ginn didn't walk in when she did and start leading the class, I probably would have released those tears that were right there behind my eyeballs. It was the stage 2 of why I needed to go. I'd prefer to be called dumb as rocks than smart as sin. That said, I think yucky is a word that sometimes fills a space that no other word can fill. I think we've had a great 6 months of performance art energy in the ATL. And a couple of them been yucky in the aspect of goo and maybe in the aspect of just blah. I like that. But I don't quite understand the context of yucky except for this animal limitation that the writer seems to have. Maybe she's a vegetarian and or only likes clean-cut meat, cooked to a T, which I can say I've been at that stage in my life before, and I have since opened myself, and I think more than yucky, I'm concerned about uneven. That doesn't make sense to me. It sounds like she had issues with the female's work and not the male's work for whatever reason. My best art criticism is in Italian and I can't read it. Ask and ye shall receive.